you after, I'm sure.
Maybe in the middle.
Yeah, maybe if we take a break.
Yes.
Oh,
Great.
we might.
Since we're doing all these presentations.
Would be great. It would have been.
I have candy too.
Jessica, who you broadcasting on tonight? What channel?
My political page.
You can see those American like that would be fun.
I just have a question for you. You have a neighbor that does not this trash. Somebody knows.
You can get it there.
I know, right?
Solar, I'm gonna smell it.
No.
And they are.
Notorious for burning trash. It's different from burning the woods. Fantastic for burning smell. Trash. It's very strange. So I call it into. And it's started at 3 o'clock. And he started at like 7. And he's just notorious for burning the smell. Our house is 2 o'clock.
I'll write it on the there. Maybe we'll talk to some right up.
What he does is he used to have a little lady that used to live next to his. She passed away, Linda Johnson. And he just thought, but she said there's nothing about you. So I'm just asking you if you can
I think there's some ideas that came out that's like within.
It's outside.
I've got knowledge.
If it's burning inside a fire. Inside a building, you don't have any way to enforce anything inside somebody's property.
This is happening at
Well,
rapid pace.
right, there's certain,
Building a storage criteria that have maybe like we have not together, that idea.
houses built to code. Fire buildings built to code. There is a spark arrestor that's supposed to be on top of the chain.
Right.
So if that's missing, we're going to discuss that.
Yeah, well, like better than.
Okay, yes, you now. Don't ever get me here.
Are you excited?
Say hi to everybody. How you doing? Good. How are you? Doing well. How are you? Good.
That's crazy thing you guys put up with.
I saw the video of the fountain this morning.
I'm the one that haunts me.
Oh, is it?
I'm dark Cameron, that's me.
I bet, yeah. We enjoy it.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good thing when it was there, not so much when you're trying to take it out. Mostly a fun change of pace, like demo was always something fun.
Or get sick anymore.
Nice.
I saw that. Okay. Yeah.
It's actually one of my sons thought seeing the video. You guys all doing that. Such a thing as that. It's more movies than we usually see. People are gonna be happy. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I guess it's like.
I feel like you got some insight info here.
I'm good, I have to move back again. Oh, when is it?
I look forward to the end product.
Sir, look at you, look at all these people. See you. How you doing? Hi there. Good to see you again. Good to see you.
How are you doing? Make sure he gets you up first.
There you go. Double check.
City, I saw it in Facebook post. Who was that? Okay, the other should be standing around. It looked like you just walked, but it looked like you were just standing around staring. Injuries, all the reasons. A long time ago, they don't look out. They don't see everything. Never coming down. Hey, that's a good thing. But I asked Nick, I heard back with you guys, because I need a date in June, it's the second, third or fourth week in June. No. But it's beautiful, and you hear about it all, come together, all, and do it. I know the night now. He saved you. Is that last weekend's rodeo? Tim went to, the local president went to the rodeo with his kids. Public Works rodeo. Oh, Public Works rodeo.
I saw him with the dog over, over there and let the dog out before I went, and I forgot. And I did that, and I-
Did you rodeo?
And then I told him,
Where did it take place? So they're like different cities competing or something? Let me know about that next time. I'd be interested.
A lot of vendors.
I was talking to Linda, who does, been up here in the city, and she was talking about rodeos, it's their next rodeo, not a whole rodeo. She says there's Latino rodeo, very different, black rodeo, and then there's the redneck rodeo. I'm like, what's the difference? And they started explaining the difference. You have to realize there's got a rodeo. I need to. I've been a rodeo a long time.
But those are conversations I would.
I'm just curious, I've never met her, I just want to hug before I sit down.
Hi, how are you? Are you really?
Hey, I was next in line for a hug.
I'm gonna talk to you. Okay. Oh, don't get up. How's your wife? Is it online? I didn't say she wasn't. It's like, no, I'm putting her down. Yeah,
Give me your car. I don't feel. Yes.
Good food, good drinks. Lousy
Well, I'm sorry, give her my love.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Lemon Grove's regular city council meeting. I would like to remind everyone to silence your cell phones. Thank you. City Clerk, will you please call the roll of the city council members in attendance?
Councilmember Smith,
Present.
Councilmember Altamirano,
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Heredia,
Here.
Mayor Snow.
Here.
We have a quorum of the city council.
I'd like to ask the Mayor Pro Tem to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. City Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
Mayor and council members, I have no changes to tonight's agenda.
I would like to start with a presentation. This is a very special week. It's a week we celebrate our public works folks. We can take a moment, just give them a big hand.
All right.
They were hard at it today, getting the old defunct fountain that's in Tregonza Park getting that taken out and ready for a beautiful planter to go in its place. So we're excited for all the hard work they do out there. I also would like to honor all the hard work that they did the day that we had the trash pickup. It was an excruciatingly hot day that day. We had over 250 cars that came through, and they managed it through that heat wave to do it with, I got there and they were all joking around, like at the tail end of it, and it was just great to see the great workers that we have in our community. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I will now turn it over to Tom Martin, our Public Works Administrative and Operations Manager, to provide comment on this wonderful Public Works Week.
City Mayor and our council members. Yeah, so this is Public Works Week, and it's just an honor to celebrate our team back here. They work so hard, and they do it every day, day in, day out, and they don't complain. They come in with a great attitude, and they really give it their all. And when there's times where we need them to come in after hours, they're always jumping up and down to go out there and get the work done. It's really, truly amazing what they can do. With a handful of people, we cover this entire city, and so it's really an honor to work with them and to celebrate them. Public Works Week.
All right, thank you so much. We have a proclamation. This is the 57th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week from May 3rd through May 9th, 2026. Whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk, that didn't sound wrong, I was like, Here we go, thank you. Let's give it up for our staff that just keeps us on track. Yeah. All right, the real proclamation of National Public Works Week, May 17th through the 23rd, 2026. Whereas our public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of the people of the city of Lemon Grove. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated work of the public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children of Lemon Grove to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest in the understanding and importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas this year, 2026, marks the 66th Annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now that therefore I, Allison Snow, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby designate the week of May 17th to the 23rd of 2026 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with the representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions that they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing the quality of life for all. A big hand to our public works folks. And if we can have our public works staff come up and we'll present the proclamation. And we'll take a photo.
We're gonna try to talk.
Yeah.
Ready?
Now, where's the Grace?
I like the shirts, are those new?
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you guys for that.
All right, we have another one. I had like a little bit of a spoiler there, but we have another one. This is the proclamation for Municipal Clerks Week. And there he is right there, making sure we say it straight. I would like to introduce the one and only City Clerk Joelle Pablo to provide comments on Municipal Clerks Week.
All right, just really quickly, I've served the city for about 2.5 years, and during my 2.5 years here with the city, I've gotten to know everybody on the city council, my colleagues, residents, business owners, and you know, I gotta say, I love this community. I love you all. Not many of you know, but the clerk's office is one of the, sorry, I'm getting emotional here. It's one of the oldest roles in local government. While the title may seem simple, my responsibilities are very broad. I am responsible for maintaining the city's records, recording the actions of the city council, processing agreements and contracts, and the list goes on and on and on. But the city clerk's office is just more than records. In many ways, the clerk's office serves as both a buffer and a bridge. The city clerk's office is responsible for making sure the public business moves forward properly, that deadlines are met, that records are preserved, and the public has access to information in a fair and consistent way. We also serve as a neutral point of contact. We work with residents, business owners, staff, elected officials, or appointed officials. The role of the clerk is to remain steady, accurate, and impartial. That neutrality is important because it helps build trust in the process and in the official record. So my last thoughts here, I just want to say that I've had the opportunity to learn from past presidents of both the California Clerk of the Boards Association, Gail Borkowski, my former supervisor, and the past president of the California Municipal Clerks Association, who was also our interim city clerk, Deborah Harrington, who served as our interim city clerk. I've worked under many great leaders here at the city of Lemon Grove, from Lydia to Tony, to all of the executive staff here that I see out in the audience, and then also who could not make it with us tonight. Municipal Clerks Week has been recognized nationally since 1969, and it is a good reminder of the essential role clerks play in preserving the public record, supporting the democratic process, and serving the community. With that, I, again, just want to reiterate that I am proud to serve the City Council and the community of Lemon Grove.
We have another proclamation, the 57th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 3rd through the 9th, 2026. Before I start reading the proclamation, we have the primaries coming up very shortly. Many of you have gotten your ballots in the mail. One of the key factors in maintaining election integrity and overseeing the election process to make sure everything goes smoothly as it should is Mr. Pablo here. Our city clerk has a heavy weight on his shoulders. It's a lot of responsibility, and I have seen him in every instance act with the neutrality, the dedication, and the diligence that office deserves. So I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate that in these times. Proclamation. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk a time-honored and vital part of our local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, local governing bodies, and the agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality regarding equal service to all. And whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as an information center on the functions of local government and community. And whereas the professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through the participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that the City Council of the City of Lemon Grove recognize the accomplishments and dedicated service of its professional municipal clerk, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Council of the City of Lemon Grove does hereby recognize the week of May 3rd through May 9th as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and does further extend its appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Joel G. Pablo, for the vital services he performs for his exemplary dedication to the City of Lemon Grove and its residents. Next, we have public comment. During the general public comment portion of this meeting, the public may express their concerns about items that are not found on the agenda. According to state law, we're not allowed as City Council to respond to the comments or questions made during this, but we will make sure that someone follows up with you. And if you need additional follow-up, please provide your name and contact information so that someone from our city staff can reach out to you after this meeting. Each speaker will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. There's a green light, yellow light, and red light. Red light means it's time for the next speaker. Our first speaker is Jasmine Mendoza.
One of my ongoing concerns continues to be the Bruce Way on Broadway and the ongoing illegal activity happening in plain view of the public. Residents, families, and local businesses should not have to constantly walk around, people loitering and lingering for hours, or creating an environment that feels unsafe or unwelcoming. I also want to bring to your attention Washington Street Park, where tents are being set up. Multiple cars are in the parking lots and living out of the cars. Many residents are asking the same question: why is this continuing to go without action? Our parks and our public spaces belong to communities, to the families, to the children. It's meant for recreation and local events, not for encampments or illegal activity. This is why so many residents are questioning the POPS program. The taxpayers contribute a significant amount of funding towards this. I believe it's close to $800,000, I may be wrong. People want transparency, accountability, and measurable results. Are the issues being documented? Are reports being provided to the public? What progress are actually being made in our parks in our downtown areas? We can have compassion while also maintaining standards for our public spaces. Both can exist at the same time. The community deserves safe parks, clean environments, and consistent enforcement of the law. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Chelsea Gastelum.
Good evening. If you don't mind, I'm gonna do that. I never like this thing. Good evening, the council and staff, and a big thank you to Public Works, who many times have had to respond to requests I've made, so thank you to that. Actually, I wanted to come here tonight on behalf of Revitalize Broadway to invite the public to an event that we have in the Broadway Village area this weekend. It is a collaboration between Revitalize Broadway, our Lemon Grove School District, and our newly formed Lemon Grove Arts Council. It is Bites on Broadway Art Walk Edition, as we are also doing our Student Zest for Life Student Art Walk, in which we will have artwork, over 150 pieces of artwork displayed in various businesses in the Broadway Village area, everywhere from the Lemon Grove Bistro down to the neighborhood, and we'll have little chalk markers for people to know. But we encourage everybody to come out to see this event. We have been told by the art teacher that these kids are so excited to know that their art is going to be publicly displayed. And we will have both 3D and 2D art in these businesses. So it's a good way for the public to come and get to know the businesses that are on Broadway, and a good way for us to encourage our youngest artists to keep creating. So just want to make sure the public is aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for helping bring that exciting event to our community. Next, we have John L. Wood.
John Elwood. The city has one pump station for the sewer. The reason it has one pump station is because when they were widening Federal, the city engineer at the time didn't run the plans through contract. That's something you're supposed to do. Even I know that. Anyway, they were digging a ditch where the curb is now, and they hit a pipe. Well, it was the middle of the day, and nobody was home. Nobody was doing laundry, nobody was cooking, nobody was doing anything. So the assistant looked at it and said, oh, there's nothing coming out of it, out of this pipe. Must be an abandoned pipe. They kept going. And about a month later, people were having a problem with sewer. Strange. Anyway, they asked me if, since the sewer actually dumped in my backyard and went under the creek to Federal, which is illegal now. I don't know if it was back then, but that's where it went. And they asked me if I could sell an easement. I said, yeah, sure. Well, they put it in, and there's a control box, sends electricity down the hill. And they left the meter box right in the side of my property. Well, it's kind of hard to get around my garage to get into the backyard. And I asked them if they could move it. Oh, no, you can't move it. So, when they came by, last week, I asked them if they could move the meter box. Oh, no, it's not necessary. Why not? Oh, we can't do it. So, now I still have this pump meter box sends the electricity down to the pump station. And I still have to work my way around it. And it would have been very easy to move the meter box down or over a little bit. But city doesn't wanna do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. Appreciate that. Thanks for letting us know. Our next speaker is Brenda Hammond.
Hello. Just a reminder that hurting people to help people is not very nice. And the county cameras, remember they wanted everybody to sign up for this program, residences and businesses to sign up, you know, so the deputies can get in on their cameras or whatever if they need to find a criminal. They're being misused. I mean, people are, little paid agitators or, you know, getting into the cameras and messing with people and then getting reaction on tape, on video. I give them what they're looking for. I want to tell you, there was this chick that, I was smoking a cigarette and she saw me and she's talking to this young man. This was after the, this was on Thursday after the farmer's market. And I saw them talking and I'm like, okay, good, this is gonna be good. So she leaves him, she lets him go, and he walks by me and he goes, hey, you got a cigarette? And I go, oh yeah, sure. So I gave it to him, and he didn't even smoke it, he put it in his ear. And so the lady took a picture of this whole thing. So when she walked by me, I said, you know, when I was growing up here in Lemon Grove, when I was a teenager, and I asked a senior for a cigarette, they would give it to me. How dare you? And I walked away from her. She did it on purpose. So that's what I mean. Messing with people like that, trying to get people in trouble, they're only going to get themselves in trouble. I'll just drop the F-bomb. I did not. And then one more thing, that in front of the post office, there's that puddle that's always there. So I threw some ducks in there today, just for the picture. So that puddle's always there, and people park there, you know, from the apartments and for the post office. So, I mean, it's been there for years, right?
Thank you, Brenda. And I like your t-shirt. Next we have Keith Baxter.
Good evening. I would like to address the fact that the existence of the communication towers that have been installed at the U-Haul at the corner of Massachusetts and Lemon Grove Avenue, it's alarming to me that there was no public notice, no public input. It looks to be like there's going to be 2 more of these going to be going in at least, from what we've been able to observe. I live right up the hill from it, and I see them every day, and it's alarming that when those things go active, there's proven medical evidence that waves from those towers can cause damage. We are fairly close to those. It's something that is difficult to understand why there was no public input or public knowledge. I just would like to address the fact that it would be nice if we were being notified about these installations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna now, that was our final speaker. I'm gonna now turn it over to our city staff to address some of the issues that were presented today. And I'd also ask that the lieutenant provide an update on the COPS program. And so I will start with our city manager, if you would like to provide comment on this.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'll start with the breezeway on Broadway. So we were alerted to some issues there at that location about a month and a half ago at one of the council meetings. And so I subsequently reached out to Lieutenant Fox and spoke to him about taking a closer look at how we might increase patrols in that area, and they've done so since then. And I'm sure he can provide some additional information, but there is an active investigation that's coming to completion. And so there's been activity on that site. So we are trying to address the issues that are there, and we're making good progress in that regard. Lieutenant, would you like to come up to the mic and maybe add a little bit to that and speak to the COPS program as well?
Absolutely.
And can you also address the efforts made at Washington Street Park?
And I can add to that. So Washington Street Park, there were some tents that were put up there, and we were alerted to that earlier today, and they have been taken down by public works staff, so they're no longer there. Lieutenant.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to pull an old email I have from one of our COPS deputies. So they provided a breakdown that there was a safe parking lot over in the city of Spring Valley for overnight for homelessness. So during the day, homelessness aren't allowed to be there. So what the homelessness will normally do during the daytime, they'll come over into the city of Lemon Grove and they will come to Washington Street Park. So our COPS deputies are aware of the situation. They have contacted numerous subjects within the RVs and have noted that nothing illegal has been, no illegal substances have been located, no crimes have been broken since the park is open to the public for Washington Street Park. So deputies are continuing to monitor. That's still on their list of extra patrol areas that they are contacting.
And can you provide an update on the breezeway too?
Yes, I believe within the last month, deputies have conducted approximately 15 to 45 extra patrols in the area that have been documented. We do have an active investigation. I'm waiting for an update on our COPS deputy, but we have identified a subject of narcotic sales, and we're just waiting for that investigation to come to fruition.
Appreciate it, thank you so much. Also, can you address the towers at the U-Haul station as well?
Sure.
Sure, Mayor. We're gonna have to look into that one a little bit further.
I can provide an opinion.
Okay.
So those cell phone towers were installed about 10 years ago, maybe even 12 years ago. So they've been there for 12 years.
That's not the ones at the U-Haul.
Well, yes, they're in the light poles. They were approved 10 to 12 years ago. So what's happening now is they're just, upgrading because the technology has changed. And
Yes.
so all they're doing is upgrading the technology. Across the street where the, Massachusetts station is, you'll see there's a fake palm tree.
Yes.
That's been there even longer than what, I personally did not like the fake trees, because they look like fake trees.
I don't like.
So 12, 14 years ago, the planning commission, we decided that we would prefer that these cell phone towers they didn't look so bad. So they were putting them in light poles, like at the U-Haul station. And then if you go further up Massachusetts, on Massachusetts and San Miguel,
I've seen that one.
there's one that's been there for 10, 12 years. And then also, they were also putting them in crosses on churches. So it's been there. It's just, you didn't notice that it was there. And then when they started working on them, now everyone noticed that these were there. So it's not new, but I do agree that, maybe when this type of work is going on, we could let people know, because we got a lot of inquiries. People thought, you're not the only person that said, oh, why are they all of a sudden putting a cell phone tower on the corner of San Miguel and Massachusetts? But it's something, they're just upgrading it, and so they didn't have to get a permit
We did have to get a permit at San Miguel, Massachusetts, because they were doing some things underground. And they built some, structures on the sidewalk, so they did have to pull a permit for that one. But they didn't have to pull a permit for the work that they were doing. So you'll notice all of a sudden now everybody, it's not, we weren't trying to hide them, but for aesthetic purposes, not so that you wouldn't know there were cell phone towers there. So I hope that answers.
I can add to that if you'd like me to. When new cell phone towers are installed, there is a requirement that there's a public hearing and that notice is provided to neighbors within, I think it's a 500-foot radius. Mailers go out, public notice is provided through the agenda, and typical for public hearings. And then I would also add that because of federal law, typically the only jurisdiction that a city has over these types of cell phone towers is aesthetic. So it's design purposes only. The FCC and federal government have overridden local control over what kind of frequencies or radio waves or other types of uses are, regulated by local entities. So I just wanted to add that in as well. But if there are new towers that are installed, there is a public hearing that's required and notice is provided to all neighbors.
All right, thank you everyone, and thank you staff and our lieutenant for helping us with some of those answers to those questions. If you do want further follow-up, just let us know, and we can also instruct staff to provide further follow-up.
And then Mayor Snow and council members, before we proceed to the next item on the agenda, written public comment has been received for the general public comment portion of the agenda from Ken King, Brianna Peters, and Truth. Copies are available at the public review table.
Thank you so much. The general public comment portion of the meeting is now closed. Next, we will move on to the consent calendar. Do I have a motion or do we have any public comment on the consent calendar?
Mayor Snow, I have no speaker slips for the consent calendar.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I move approval.
I'll second.
The motion was made by Councilmember Mendoza with a second by Councilmember Smith to approve the consent calendar. I will now conduct the roll to go on the record. Councilmember Mendoza.
Aye.
Councilmember Altamirano.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Heredia.
Aye.
Mayor Snow.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
Our next item is item number 2. This is the award of agreement number 041525-F as in Frank, N as in Nancy, R as in Riley, to Funroche Lighting America Inc. for the purchase and installation of solar street light equipment. I'll ask our Public Works Director, Izzy Maria, to present the report.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. The item before you this evening, as mentioned, is award an agreement to Funroche Lighting for a solar streetlight pilot project on Main Street. Next slide, please. So in Lemon Grove, there is a roadway lighting district that encompasses the city limits of Lemon Grove. The lighting district has 2 maintenance zones. The first maintenance zone is the general benefit district or zone. And this zone funds and operates the maintenance of streetlights, particularly on arterials and collector streets, and streetlights in intersections and at the end of cul-de-sacs. Those streetlights are for a general use, so those serving the general public as opposed to a particular area or neighborhood where the beneficiaries of those lighting enhancements would be particularly the residents that live nearby. Which leads me or segue to the local benefit zone. This is the second maintenance district in the lighting zone. The local benefit zone, again, funds, maintains, and operates streetlights at mid-blocks, primarily on local and residential streets. The local benefit zone is funded by a $12 per benefit unit assessment, whereas the general benefit zone is funded by or through 1% of the city's property tax. In total, between the two zones, we have approximately 1,260 streetlights. Next slide. As you know, lighting is deficient in our community, and it's actually one of the common requests that we get is improving street lighting in various areas of the city. As you know, the one of the items on the fiscal year 25-26 work plan, the city council's work plan, is identifying or enhancing street lighting in public spaces. To address the concerns of a lack of lighting, and also to address the strategic focus area of the city council, staff was proposing a pilot project to install 13 solar street lights on Main Street between Broadway and Central Avenue on the west side of the street. Next slide. So why solar? Obviously solar's been around for a number of years now, but the application of solar in streetlights is fairly novel. There are a few communities in California, and I think right now I only can count one in the county that is implementing solar on roadway streetlight solar in a practice. And so we're looking at solar because it's energy efficient, it's sustainable. The lighting is not reliant on the grid. It's cost effective. The street light itself, the fixture, does not have to depend on trenching, installing conduit, wire, electric meters. It's all self-reliant. Additionally, one of the common things that we see with street lighting is copper theft, and that creates a downstream amount of issues with replacing the copper in order to get the street light back up and running. Those components to a solar street light are they're not there, so you don't have those issues. So vandalism is minimized. Why Main Street? Obviously, we have a lot of areas in the city that are deficient in lighting. Why did we choose this section for our project? One, primarily, it's because it's located in the general benefit zone. So it's this project would be funded out of the general benefit zone's budget, specifically out of the fund balance. This project's not funded, so I want to make that clear. This project's not funded in the fiscal year 25-26 budget. So as part of this item tonight, we are asking for an appropriation from the general fund balance, and I'll get to that at the end of the presentation. But the general benefit zone fund balance, it is healthier than the local benefit zone. The fund balance in the local benefit zone has approximately $36,000 in reserves. So that zone cannot fund a lighting project at the scale, or much less, replacing 2 or 3 streetlights, which is a challenge on the local benefit zone, but that's for another discussion at another time. So that's why we selected Main Street. It's located within a zone where the budget is adequate and sufficient to fund this pilot project. Next slide. It's difficult to see here on the screen, but project overview, again, as I mentioned, we're looking to install 13 independent solar lights on Main Street. So the image that you see on the top is an aerial view of Main Street from Broadway to Central. The street lights are within the light blue circle areas. The circle areas essentially just show how wide the lighting output for each location. The table below just provides a little bit more information from a photometric study. Don't necessarily want to complicate things, but the table, in essence, indicates that the lights produce, on average, 0.85 foot candles, which is the measurement of lighting, and the standard for a local residential street is anywhere from 0.4 to 0.6. So at 0.85, it meets the national standard and exceeds the national standard. Also want to mention that the luminaires are dark sky compliant, so the light pollution coming from the luminaires meets the International Dark Sky, forget the association, but pollution is minimized. So the standard for light pollution is 3,000 kelvins, and all the lighting, particularly the luminaire that we spec'd out, is under that 3,000 K threshold. You want to know you can purchase up to 4K for those communities that want brighter areas and that are not adherent or tied to the dark sky requirement. But this luminaire has the 3K maximum of 3K luminaire output. Next slide. Again, it's difficult to see for those in the in attendance, but in your presentation, this is a photometric simulation of what Main Street would look like at night based off of the light fixture that we selected. Next slide. And I mentioned there are very few cities in California that have implemented solar street lights, but one of our counter agencies in the county is the city of Vista. They implemented a rather significant sized project, I think over 100 solar street lights. So I took a drive this weekend and thought I'd check it out and see how they work in practice. And this is of a residential street. This is a different luminaire. However, the output is somewhat the same. This would be, in essence, a little brighter than what we're selecting. But in any case, I was kind of my site observations. It was rather bright. There is, you can see the glow, but that in essence was just the position that I was in. So the light pollution coming from these street lights is rather limited. They are facing downward. It's just the position that I was in makes it look like there's significant glow in pollution moving outwards, but that wasn't the case. Next slide. Okay, so as I mentioned, this project's not currently funded in this fiscal year, and so we're requesting an appropriation of $141,362,000 from the Lemon Grove Roadway Lighting District general benefit fund balance to fund this project. There is sufficient reserve balance in this account to fund the project. And then we're requesting approval, the approval of an agreement with Monroe Lighting America Incorporated for the purchase of up to 13 street lights, solar street lights, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute any necessary documents. With that, that concludes staff's presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. We do have public comment on this item. I will call first Jennifer Morrissey.
Hi, working, okay. Hi everyone, thank you for the time. I just wanted to contribute a little bit on this. I'm pleased to hear that you did consider light pollution, and it sounds like you're also adhering to some of the Dark Sky Association's guidelines around streetlights. Just since I worked at Mission Trails Regional Park, I've become more familiar with the Dark Sky program and the need to limit light pollution in city areas, especially since we have the Palomar Observatory nearby. So I'm just glad to hear that this is being considered as this is moving forward. I would like to suggest, if it hasn't happened already, that the city confer with some specialists through the Dark Sky Association of San Diego County. They do have some great information about how to make sure that there is not light pollution associated with public lighting, and because not only does it impact the stargazing and dark skies around our cities, but also it can alter bird migration patterns, and as well as obviously affect people's sleep. So just wanted to contribute that, and as well I think that Lemon Grove is really becoming known for being very forward-thinking and considering the environment in all the ways that we're doing this. And so I think that this is another opportunity where we could really become a model in the region, considering these kinds of factors when we do public works projects. Thanks.
Really appreciate that. Our next speaker is Brenda Hammond.
Okay. Thank you, Izzy, for finally getting that going. The Dark Sky people, this is not about looking at stars from Main Street. This is about safety. This is about people that walk that Main Street late at night to catch the trolley, to catch the bus, to go to work. And people like me that want to go check on people. So I appreciate the dark sky thing, but people aren't standing out there looking at the stars. They're trying to get to the transit that you all want them to take. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. That closes our public comment portion of the agenda. Do we have any written public comment on that?
Mayor Snell, I have no written public comment. Number 2.
Thank you so much. I'd like to start just by commenting that the two people who provided public comment really show the balance that we have to engage in and look at and weigh when we're making these kind of decisions. You have considerations for public safety, safer places to walk, more light, so making it a little bit safer, helping to discourage nocturnal activities that are not appropriate, and at the same time recognize that we have an environment. I did girls camps and we went up to Mount Palomar and learned all about light pollution out there and what it does. So we as legislators up here have to measure and weigh those in balance and interest. So I really appreciate both sides coming in and providing those comments. I'll now look to my city council and see if they have any comments or questions for staff. Councilmember Altamirano.
Thank you, Izzy, for the report. Lighting in Lemon Grove is needed, much needed. I did have some questions. I met with Juan Roach, Lighting America, and when the project was first presented to council by them, I'm not sure why, I figured that it was part of the Connect Main Street, project. And at that moment, I thought, okay, 141,000 kind of makes sense, you know, if we're paying with grant money. Do you have the balance on the general fund, what the balance on that is? You said that the other fund had $36,000, but do you know what the general fund balance is?
So the general benefit zone, which is different from the general fund, that fund balance is approximately 490,000.
Okay. So at the time, it made sense to spend almost 150,000 on 13 lights, but being that we're gonna use it from our general benefit zone, I have some concerns about the price. 141,362 divided by 13 lights, that's almost $11,000 per light, which seems a bit high in my own opinion. I understand we have the money, but not because we have the money there, that doesn't mean we have to spend it, although we do need the lighting. And I also met with Alliance Solutions. I know you guys are meeting with them in a couple of weeks. They also have some solar solutions, and I was wondering if maybe we can wait until we talk to them and see if there's other more affordable options.
So I'm not familiar with Alliance, but as you mentioned, we working on meeting with them. So I'm not sure what the scope of services they provide. However, I'm assuming primarily they're in the service of having cities save money through energy savings, lighting upgrades. In this case, where we don't currently have any lighting there, it's, I don't think there wouldn't be anything to say because there's no lighting there currently. That's pretty much all I'll say about that. With regards to costs, understand, the sticker shock, but just for comparison, a street light on Broadway, those decorative street lights, one of those street lights is $25,000. That does not include installation costs. A street light, we installed a street light at, or concrete pole street lights. One of those are probably in the ballpark of $6,000 to $7,000, after you purchase the pole and the luminaire head. But those are dependent on the grid, so you'd have just for comparison costs, $7,000 times 13, not including the installation of trenching, putting the wire in, the conduit wire, and then paying for the electric meter. I would say you probably, the solar lighting would be more cost advantageous. But just for some comparisons or context of how this street light compares to the others in our city.
Thank you. Yeah, they are, in comparison to other lights, they are not as expensive. And when I did meet with them, they did mention that the actual price per light pole was about $5,000, but I'm assuming that since they're installing it, the difference will be the installation?
Correct, yeah, so, don't have the breakdown, hold on a sec. So we're looking at about 70,000 for the street lights themselves, and then another 56,000-ish for the installation.
Okay, and the other question that I had was, they had very nice products. I really like their lights. If we continue doing business with them in the future, is there a possibility that staff will be able to save, that we'll be able to save by staff
observing and learning how to do the installation so that maybe our public works department can take care of that. And we need lighting, and solar is the way to go, so I agree with that, sure.
I'm sure that is a possibility if the council were to approve the project tonight and from Roche came out and their contractor came out. I'm mostly positive that, our crews can come and observe or shadow to see the installation process. Also, another option, we do have our street light contractor, which an option would be to, and I have to check with Van Roche, but whether or not they would allow that as part of the purchase agreement, but purchase the street lights and then have our street light contractor install them. But pretty much you'd be pouring a foundation and a footing, and that's in essence the installation process.
The last question, how high are they?
20 feet.
Thank you, Izzy.
To address some of the issues that were raised by Councilmember Altamirano, I'll ask a little bit about the RFP process to our city manager on how this group was selected by city staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so under our municipal code, we're authorized to access what's called cooperative purchasing agreements. So these are organizations, and in this case, the organization is called Sourcewell. And so those organizations execute RFPs, and then as long as they are conducted in accordance with the municipal code for the city of Lemon Grove, then we can access those bids and select the vendors that come through those RFP processes. So in this case, we are utilizing an RFP that was executed by Sourcewell. So it is competitively bid, and then we'll be piggybacking off of the agreement that is already in place with Roche.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Member Smith?
Yes, thank you. Looking at the location of where we're gonna have these lights, we're working on our downtown specific plan update, and these are going in our historic district, and I'm wondering if we did, and don't get me wrong, they're nice lights, but I wonder if we did any public outreach for the aesthetics of the light, to see maybe what do we want in our historic district. And as far as the dark sky compliance goes, I heard the Kelvin, the temperature of the light, but and I assume it's shielded to point down to the ground, but that would be another aspect of it. So I want to know if that's included as well.
So with regards to the aesthetic standard, staff did look at, we tried to see if there was other vendors that had solar lighting. We found one other vendor that was on a cooperative, and so the limitation is really the cooperative, because they do the turnkey, it's a turnkey process, and it's a cooperative bid too, so it's more effective and efficient for staff to go through that process. So looking at cooperatives, the vendors that are on there are in essence only two. There's this one, and I can't remember the other vendor, but the other vendor's lights, they had a larger base at the pole, which staff found not aesthetically pleasing. And that's the issue with, lights that are connected to the grid. You have a little bit more flexibility to the design, and you can get a variety of decorative streetlights, which they're just not available at the from a solar vendor. And so, on the slide, if you can go back to, Mr. Pottle, can you go back to the next backslide? There, okay. So in your packets, the light on the right-hand side, that's an example of the street light. And so staff attempted to pick something that was aesthetically pleasing and aesthetically close in line to connect Main Street. Yeah, unfortunately, if we're going solar, the options are very limited.
And thank you for that. Then I have no problem with the one that was selected aesthetically. I think it's a nice light. The other part of that question was, is there shielding on the light as well?
Yes, so the shield itself, I forget what the particular term, yes, there is, and if there is any additional shields required, you could add to it. But one of the very neat features of this light is they're programmable, so you can lower the temperature. They're all Wi-Fi interconnected, and so you can lower the lighting in essence.
Oh, that's it. That is a neat feature. All right, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mayor Pro Tem, or not Mayor? Councilmember Madison.
Or did,
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question about the design also, so, thanks for that explanation. So this picture is then what's been selected? That's-
Correct, yeah, staff selected that particular design. In the image from the Vista example, those are more overhang type of street lights. They're a little bit more, they're not decorative. And so, you know, I think with trying to have something aligned with the Connect Main Street theme, this seems to be more in line with that. And with regards to Connect Main Street, this is back to Councilmember Altamirano's comment with the grants. So the streetlights that were installed for Connect Main Street, obviously those were spec'd out prior to this project. The next phases, if the council were to approve this project tonight, and these lights had positive reviews, we can then implement the standard throughout the various phases of Connect Main Street to ensure that there's alignment throughout the corridor.
So then so there's the light, but then is that like a little solar panel that's above the light? Okay.
Correct, so there's a lamp, which, for those in attendance, it's difficult to see because it looks like it's cut off, but there is a pole, there's a little arm that hangs out, and then the lamp, and then above that, there is a solar panel.
So that's why I was in Yuma, Arizona this weekend, and there's a lot of sun in Yuma pretty much all the time. And so that's why I meant to send the picture that I took while I was there. I was at a park, and I saw a picture of in the park of like a solar light, and I liked it because it didn't have, you couldn't see the solar panels. Those were like it was a flat light, and you couldn't see the little solar panels. So like you said, that would be a great design for solar lights. What I sent you, and we can share it with the rest of the council later, but maybe not appropriate for this project.
Yeah, so that particular standard has a lower lumen, so it's appropriate for parks and open space pathways, but not necessarily for a roadway.
Okay.
And then the second component to that is that, those types of streetlights would be for light, the city can purchase them if we spec'd it out and bid out the project, but, staff would have to develop those specifications on our own. Whereas the cooperative purchasing process, it's been done for us already, and the vendors that have been awarded contracts, they have a limited set of streetlights. And so, not to say that that street light that you're referencing is not available to us, it is, but we'd have to, spec that out.
Okay, we'll just keep that in mind. Yuma, Arizona. Are there lights there now? Are there any lights?
No.
There are no lights in that corridor. The closest light is in front of the church on Main Street and Central. There's one street light on the corner, northwest corner. And then, and that's a typical concrete pole street light. And then kitty corner from that, one of the new street lights that was installed as part of Connect Main Street, which is a typical concrete pole right at adjacent to the rail crossing.
And then, do these, like, if we have 10 days of rain, which we never really have, but would these ever be like dimmer or, you know, I don't know. Yeah, what kind of storage do you?
Yeah, great question. So as part of the photometric study, the Fund Roche in essence took 10 years worth of weather data to spec out the luminaire, the components of the street light to ensure that they can produce 8 hours or from dusk to dawn, light from dusk to dawn. So they did that analysis and selected the appropriate features to be able to do that. So in theory, yes. With regards to output, not in essence the warranty, but they're like guaranteed to produce their lumens for up to 10 years.
Mayor Pro Tem Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. McGeer. Murgia, finally, all right. Thank you for this presentation. I'm excited for lighting in that district. I know that we've had some areas right there by the market. They've struggled with some stuff that's occurred over there, unpleasant hanging out, loitering, that kind of stuff, and that would kind of deter some of that. I know the bistro will probably appreciate it because it'll give them a lot more visibility into like from the trolley or even from the corner by the lemon. I did almost miss the picture of the example, so thank you for pointing that out. That was one of my questions. I had very similar concerns, or not concerns, but very similar desires as Councilmember Altamirano, as far as the Alliance group and talking to them in the future, moving forward. Hopefully, that is a program that the city likes. You know, it'd be great to find out more about that after your meeting. One of the things that I really like about this is how you're doing it on just the west side, but it illuminates the east side pretty nicely according to your picture here, so thank you for that. I will say, I did also meet with the Fund Roche rep, and he did say if we liked this project and we got it, we would get a taco truck for ribbon cutting, so let's hold our feet to the fire.
Apropos of Cinco de Mayo, thank you. All right, any further comments or questions? I've reviewed it and went through the contract. I just wanted to make sure that we had a decent warranty on these, and it looked like it was appropriate for what we were receiving, so I appreciate that. I also thought that the price tag was much better for solar than it would be for the traditional model, and if some drunk driver takes out one of them, we're not gonna lose 3 at the same time because of grid issues. And so I think this is a wise move, and it's a good fiscal move. So I will move to adopt the recommendation to approve an appropriation in the amount of $141,362 from the Lemon Grove Roadway Lighting District General Fund balance. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Clerk, can you call the roll?
You can do one motion for both requests.
Okay. And in addition, I would like to approve an agreement with Fund Roche Lighting America, Inc. for the purchase of solar streetlight equipment and authorize the interim city manager to execute any necessary documents. Can I get a second for the amended motion?
and I'll reaffirm.
The motion was made by Mayor Snow with a second by Councilmember Smith to approve staff's recommendation. I'll now conduct the roll to go on the record. Councilmember Mendoza.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Altamirano.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Heredia.
Aye.
Mayor Snow.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
The next item on the agenda is item number 3. Bless you. It's the award of an agreement number 2026-01A to Western Audiovisual and Security for audiovisual and technology system upgrades. I'll call on our senior management analyst, Portland Bates, to present the report, but I also want to honor this moment as a long time in coming. All right, senior manager analyst Bates.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Snow, City Council, and members of the public. I'm here tonight to present the award for the agreement with Western Audiovisual and Security for audio and technology upgrades for the Council Chamber Community Center. Next slide, please. Staff recommends Council adopt a resolution awarding an agreement with Western Audio, Visual and Security for the audio and visual and technology system upgrade project in the amount not to exceed $240,450.79, and authorize the interim city manager to execute the agreement and any related documents necessary to complete the project. Next slide, please. The purpose of the RFP and award is to retain a qualified firm to provide audiovisual and technology upgrades to the Lemon Grove Council Chamber Community Center. On December 4th, 2025, the city advertised a request for proposal for integrated audiovisual services. The city received 8 proposals. An evaluation committee reviewed the proposals and ranked each proposal based on firm experience, qualifications, key personnel, project management approach, and proposed technology solutions and costs. Following the initial review, the city invited the top 3 firms to participate in interviews on various dates. Next slide, please. The scope of the project includes submitting bids for labor, materials, equipment, programming, and coordination necessary to design, furnish, install, test, and commission the AV system for the Council Chamber Community Center. In addition, the scope includes installation of display systems, audio systems, signal distribution, and switching control, which consists of camera and broadcast systems, furniture, training city staff, testing, and system commissioning. Next slide, please. The list of firms that submitted proposals were Western Audiovisual, EIDIM, INA, Southland, Pacific Design Integration, JAVS, Baker Electric, and Riding Media. Next slide, please. The 3 firms that were interviewed are listed in order of panel ranking and include overall costs. Western Audiovisual with a cost of $240,450.79 with an evaluation score of 87.75. EIDIM AV Technology with a cost of $232,620.64 with an evaluation score of 80.25. And INA Display with a cost of $229,870.19 with an evaluation score of 68. The firms were ranked based on the following rubric with associated points assigned. Experience and references, 20 points. Technical design, 25 points. Usability and training, 15 points. Support and warranty, 20 points. Schedule, 10 points. Security and room use, 5 points. And cost and value, 15 points, with a possible overall point total of 100 points. Next slide, please. Western Audiovisual and Security is the firm that received the highest overall evaluation score and was determined to provide the best value to the city based on its experience, proposed approach, qualifications, and ability to deliver a complete AV system for public meetings. Western Audiovisual's proposal demonstrated a strong understanding of the scope of work and complexity of the project, and their fee is considered fair and competitive. Western Audiovisual has 30 years of experience integrating solutions within executive boardrooms, council chambers, and other facilities throughout Southern California and beyond. Western Audiovisual has over 150 city and county clients, including the cities of Carlsbad, Chula Vista, Coronado, Del Mar, Encinitas, Imperial Beach, National City, Oceanside, San Marcos, Santee, and Vista. Next slide, please. Once installation is complete, the city will also coordinate and implement a new agenda management system, software system, eScribe, which will bring the city into full compliance with SB 707 and provide the city with the ability to live stream public meetings, provide closed captioning, and make the meetings accessible to residents who are not able to attend but wish to participate remotely. Next slide, please. The project timeline as agreed upon through the proposal specifies a 4 to 6 week timeline for completion of the audiovisual and technology upgrade after the equipment has been received. City council meetings will be relocated during installation and testing activities. City staff has secured the Lemon Grove Library Community Room for meetings during this time. Next slide. Staff recommends that council adopt a resolution, attachment A, awarding an agreement to Western Audiovisual for the audiovisual and technology system upgrade project in the amount not to exceed $240,450.79, and authorize the interim city manager to execute the agreement and any related documents necessary to complete the project, subject to approval as to or by the city attorney. Next slide, please. That concludes staff's presentation. I'm available to answer any questions at this time. Thank you.
Councilmember Smith, do you have any questions?
Not at this time, no.
Councilmember Altamirano?
I have questions. At any point, I'm glad to see this has been 4 years in the making? 5 years? 5 years in the making. And we just desperately need it. It's not fair to Mayor Pro Tem Heredia to have to set up on a weekly basis. So thank you for working on that. I do have a question. Will we see the design at any point? Will council get the opportunity to see the design at any point?
Is there something in particular that you had an interest that we could maybe talk about?
We have provided direction to staff, but sometimes, it was a long time ago and you weren't here, so I just wanted to make sure that, we were going to get what we got.
And I'm happy to provide a general description of what's included. So we will be receiving television monitors that will be on the sides of the room. We'll also be obviously having a full broadcast system. So you'll have monitors in the dais up here, and obviously new mics and all of the supporting equipment. We'll also have a room. Well, you can still bring that, yeah, for your agenda, but you'll be able to essentially see what's on the monitors out here on your monitor in front of you, which just makes it a little bit easier to view. And then we'll also be able to broadcast live on the internet, and so folks will be able to tune into us at home, and then also provide public comment online as well. And is there something in particular that you want to hear about? 'Cause
There are some cities that do closed captioning in Spanish.
we will have closed captioning, and they have the ability to do it in Spanish. But we need to look into that a little bit more. However, we will have units that will be broadcasting the translated version. And if you have a smartphone, you'll be able to actually use an earbud to listen to it on your phone. Yeah.
And then, some cities also broadcast into the city's social media pages. Is
Is that gonna be an option as well?
It'll be on our website, so we'll include a link on our social media, because we always post the agenda beforehand, but we'll include a link so folks can go to the website and watch it there if they want. Mhm.
And then, I know we have close to $500,000 on that PEG account. Would by chance any of that be able to be used? If by chance any of these panels break when they're getting installed, so we could get them, these are just old and yellow and.
So after our CIP workshop the other night, we were listening to council. You had mentioned that could we possibly paint the room and look at the ceiling tiles? So we'll be doing both, but I was hoping that that would be a surprise, but I'm throwing it out there now. So we'll have a new paint job and we'll also be looking at those too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilmember Mendoza.
And so does this bid include the, like the protection of the equipment? Or I know you,
That's okay.
but
So
could you explain like how that is gonna happen?
sure. So there will be a couple different pieces of protection. So one will be essentially a green partition that's going to be securable, so that when this room is not in use, the dais will not be accessible to the public and the associated equipment that's behind it. It'll be floor to ceiling, and so it'll be movable, so that it can go to the side during meetings and just sit to the side. And then it'll be lockable as well. Yeah.
So people will not be able to access the kitchen?
No, it'll take the turn here and go to the wall.
Oh,
So
okay.
it'll still have access to the kitchen.
Okay. And then, not many people remember this, but John does. We used to have electronic voting. Remember that? This was like really exciting. So there was a word on the wall and push the button. Are we gonna have any push button voting?
Yes, under the consent calendar tonight, you guys approved an agreement with eScribe. Unfortunately, I did not include in my staff report a listing of features and services provided, but I will tell you that is one of the features that is offered under, they call it the ultimate. So you'll be able to, yes, let me know verbally what your vote is, but also on that. That's the touch that.
Exciting stuff.
Mayor Pro Tem Heredia.
This is the best moment ever. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Councilmember, you can continue to record if you want.
I
on your
really
phone.
am good.
You don't
I'm
need to.
so good. I don't think I do. Super excited that this is happening. This is a real testament to everybody here. Like, we all did this, right? We all continually advocated for this, to use our PEG funds in the manner in which they were supposed to be used. So kudos to all of you for doing that. I assume that the cameras, I go to like the Sandag meetings and I see other equipment out there and they're like ceiling mounted. I assume we're gonna have that same kind of a look and an AI kind of following you. You know, it follows you, it knows who's talking.
Yes.
Okay, great. Because I didn't want to have Joel tasked with, you know, setting up and going back there to zoom in on me. And then that'll be much better, because I know one of the things about the way I do record is that it is very hard to see who's talking sometimes, and you have to rely on the sound of somebody's voice. The other thing that I think is great is all of the features that are built into this are pretty similar to Sandag. So if you've ever gone on a Sandag or county online meeting, you know, they are really cool because you can basically just say, I want to go to item 2 and start there. You don't have to watch all the stuff leading up to it or fast forward and try to find it. So I'm really excited for this technology. Thank you so much for your hard work, both you and Joel and Mr. Bates. I really appreciate the commitment to it, and I just can't wait. I think we should have pizza the day we get it.
So I actually, like, when we had the discussion, I was against the AI. I've used the AI and it gives you motion sickness, to watch it. It zooms, if there's somebody's rustling papers, it will move the camera over to them. If there's any ancillary noise, it moves over to them. And so I strenuously opposed at the time we were thinking of this, having the AI feature. And if you go to Sandager County, they are not using AI. It is somebody who's controlling where the camera is to be able to do that. I don't think it's very accessible when you have the AI feature, because it's so hard to be able to focus on it. If you have any kind of disability that's related to motion, it really impacts that. So I have AI cameras at my law school, and we have to disable them and go onto our laptops because it is so distracting. You can't hold a court hearing because anytime anybody moves, it moves away from you onto that person moving. And so I think that we should not do the AI part of it.
And Mayor, let me clarify. So the way that the system will work will not rely on AI. What it will do is it has preset settings, and so it essentially you have the option of defaulting to those preset shots that it'll be set up for. And so you essentially train the system to rely on those preset shots, or you can do manual operation as well. But the system is structured so that we can have a single operator, which would be the clerk. So one of our considerations was trying to minimize the amount of staff required to operate it.
I get that, but I also have been unfortunately plagued by the AI version. So as long as we have the capacity to make sure that whoever's speaking is the one that it's focused on, and that it can go, I don't know if it does each different council member as they're speaking, or if it just does a wide angle shot of what it's doing, but that would be helpful. I do want to see a mock-up, and I don't know how you're going to protect on the walls if it curves around the edge, so protect the TVs that are going to be up. And we also talked about having some TVs set further back behind, so that people further in the back could be able to see it. I think that we had maybe 4 televisions before is what we discussed. And so now we're only doing 2 at the front. And how are those being protected?
We have 3 televisions that we'll be installing, and then we'll be working with the contractors to figure out the best way to protect them. So there's a couple of different options on the table. So we'll be talking to them about essentially setting them within a protective cabinet or something similar.
And where are the 3 televisions going?
We're going to have them come in for a site visit and make recommendations with their technical knowledge and in terms of the best peak placement.
All right, I'll look to my council. Are there any other further questions?
Just one.
Councilmember Smith.
Yeah, just one. Will we have the ability to have somebody phone in a public comment?
Yes.
Perfect, thanks. And the comment I'll make is, I don't know if you want me to look at a layout. I might have more comments than anybody wants to give it, given what I do professionally. So maybe don't show me that.
Mayor Pro Tem Peridian.
Just one more thing. I want to make sure that we're really good at educating the public on the fact that for that month that we're out here, that it will be at the library. So we want to make sure we do a good job of communicating that. And then just for real quick, can you give a brief overview of what the PEG funds are and how much we have in the fund and how much we'll be using of it through this?
Sure. So we have currently just over $450,000 within the PEG fund, and so it's almost like we saved up just enough money to make this project happen. So we are restricted in terms of the use, which is why we've been able to accumulate those funds over the years. And so it's specifically money that's collected. It's a 1% levy that's collected by the cable company operators on your cable bills, and they can only be used for capital improvements for systems like these.
Councilmember Mendoza.
And with the possible people aren't subscribing to cable so much, are we anticipating that fund is gonna be getting less money from that fund?
So we haven't seen that happen yet, but that's quite likely in the future. It really depends on what the cable companies do in terms of their market position and how they choose to evolve in the new marketplace.
So would we be able to use any of those, like in the past, I know we have used those funds for, like, not necessarily maintenance, but updating some of our equipment? Would we be able to use it for, repairs or maintenance?
As long as it's related to the system, yes. And, yeah.
I also wanted to ask, where will these recordings be available?
They'll be available on the website, so they'll be archived and you can go back to prior meetings, and I think as the Mayor Pro Tem said, they'll be timestamped so you can, jump to a specific item in that meeting by name, so the agenda will be listed on the left-hand side and you can just click to move forward.
Are we also adding them to our YouTube channel?
We will not. We won't be broadcasting through YouTube any longer. And there's a couple of technical reasons for that, but we'll be broadcasting and archiving on the city's website.
Will they be available on the YouTube site even if they're not being live broadcast?
No, they'll be available on the city's website.
Is there a reason why we're doing that?
Yes, so YouTube has some community standards, and there have been instances with other cities where they've archived their video footage online, and then YouTube has taken those archival footage down, and then the archives are no longer available to the public. So once you post them there, you don't have control over what happens to them. And so we really wanted to make sure that we had control over that footage and that we could make it available on a continuing basis.
I think we can still accomplish that. There's a lot of people, especially in our older generations, that actually use YouTube, and it's more accessible sometimes than our going through our website is to find these items. So as long as we're archiving them on our own system, we've met our archival requirements. It just means that we need to be able to make sure that the records are secure. We have a responsibility and duty to make sure that the records are secure. So if we're already doing that, I don't see any harm in secondarily posting these to the YouTube channel.
And we can look into doing that.
Any other comments or questions?
I'd like to make a motion.
If that's appropriate. I also wanted to just, I wanted to recognize Councilmember Heredia's efforts to bring and make these meetings accessible. She did this for how many years? 4 years? 5 years? She has been coming to these meetings religiously, getting here, setting up her equipment, broadcasting this, making it accessible to everyone. And that is just an incredible endeavor. And just want you to know that not just me and other council members, but I think the entire community shouts your praise on that issue. So thank you so much for that. And I'm happy to second the motion.
Okay, well, let's put the motion on the floor first. I'd like to motion that we adopt a resolution, attachment A, awarding agreement to WAV, or do they say WAV? Want to get that?
Western Audio Visual.
Okay, Western Audio Visual for the AV and Technology System Upgrade Project in the amount not to exceed $240,450.79, and authorize the interim city manager to execute the agreement and any related documents necessary to complete the project, subject to approval as by the city attorney.
Second.
All right, before I conduct the roll, just for the record, I have no speaker slips for this item, and a written public comment was submitted by Truth that has been distributed to every member on the dais, and they're also available on the public review page.
Actually, there is, so sorry, Brenda. Brenda Hammond, one comment for public comment.
it, but, I like it, but I'm wondering about, I'm wondering about the protection of everything while there's no one in here of us or of you guys. Doesn't Hope have their program here during the day? And then, well, I mean, not that I don't trust them, but I mean, you know, there's been problems at different locations. Not pointing fingers, just saying, we need to make sure it's protected when there's anybody here besides a program, or a lot of people, I think there's a church that rents here on Sundays. So, they don't get to use it.
All right, thank you so much, and point well taken. And so, look to our clerk to call the roll.
So with that, I have no more speaker slips. Then I'll conduct the roll to go on the record. The motion was made by, Mayor Pro Tem Heredia, second by Mayor Snow, to approve staff's recommendation. Councilmember Altamirano.
Aye.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Heredia.
Aye.
Mayor Snow.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
Next, we have item number 4. This is to discuss and provide direction on the city council fiscal year 2026-2027 strategic goals and work plan. I'll call on our interim city manager, Tony Winnie, to present the report.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. So yes, I'm here to present on our strategic goals workshop that was held on April 14th. We were all in attendance, and we had a really fun discussion with the public, discussing not only some of the potential strategic goals that the council had put forward, but also goals that the members of the public had put forward that evening. And so we're going to go through those goals and walk you through those in just a second. So as you recall, on that evening, we took the goals that the council had been interviewed previously by our consultant, who was the facilitator of the workshop, and he had put forward a number of goals for consideration for folks to vote on using the nominal group technique, and then residents also came forward with their own goals at that meeting, and then everyone got to vote on what their priorities might be for the coming year. Next slide, please. So attached to your agenda report this evening is a list of the goals that were presented, and as well as how folks ranked those goals as part of the workshop. And so they're broken down by city council and then the residents that were in attendance as well. The focus of, can you just go back one? So the focus of the conversation this evening will be having the city council weigh in on what their priorities might be for the coming year, and with really a focus on, you know, what is achievable, which goals have high impact, and of course, which ones can be achieved within a year or in some cases 2, under our current staffing model and resources that we have available. Next slide. So historically, the city council has utilized 4 strategic goal areas. So all of the goals that were ranked in previous years and put forward by council as our goals for the coming fiscal year are broken down into these 4 categories that you see on the screen before you. So public streets, storms, and sidewalks, community life, revenue, economic development, and budget, and then public safety and homelessness. Next slide. So on this slide is a list of all of the goals that received 3 or more votes by the city council through our workshop exercise that evening. And I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but I did want to mention that there were a mixture of goals. So some of these are carryovers from the current fiscal year that may not have been achieved, and then there was also new goals that were introduced by the city council or residents at the end of the workshop. Next slide. This is the list of priorities that the residents on hand discussed that evening and put forward. And so there are, oh, sorry, one more slide. Yep, you got it. Thank you. So in total, there were 7 new city council priorities that the city council put forward, 5 that were carryovers from the current year for a total of 12. And then we also had 5 new goals that were put forward by residents, 3 carryovers from the current list of goals for a total of 8. So for a point of reference, our current year strategic goals, we have 8 of those. So the job of council this evening is to try and figure out which goals you might want to carry forward into the new year and which new goals you might want to adopt. Obviously, so, you know, when we have a large grouping of goals like this, we want to make sure that we narrow it down to about 8 to 10, ideally. Next slide. So I'll walk through So staff is making a recommendation of the following 8 goals. So this is based on where there was crossover between the city council and the residents on hand that evening. And I will point out where there were crossover specifically. So the first goal is addressing homelessness. So working with service providers to find grants and other resources to fund homelessness diversion programs and homeless outreach services, which received 5 city council votes. The asterisk next to the 5 indicates that that was also highly ranked by residents on hand. The second goal is lighting initiative for public spaces. This is a carryover from the current year. So exploring establishment of a multi-year plan for improved lighting in the downtown and public areas as a deterrent to crime and to contribute to a more attractive community, which received 4 votes from council. Recreation and Senior Center, again, a carryover from the current year, identify funding and or partners to open the Senior Center and Recreation Center, including possible contracts with private sector vendors to offer programs, which received 4 council votes and also was voted on highly by the community. Economic development study, this is a new goal, which would be to hire a consultant to identify and analyze leading economic development opportunities and strategies to attract businesses to Lemon Grove with the goal of increasing sales tax revenue, reducing the commercial vacancy rate, and creating local jobs and enhancing public infrastructure. So that received 4 votes and was also highly ranked by the public. Next slide. Next we have sidewalk improvements. This is an existing year goal carryover, so identify where the city has the right of way and where land to construct needed sidewalks for pedestrian connections between neighborhoods and parks. Select 1 sidewalk for completion in the fiscal year. So that received 3 council votes. Planning and permitting process improvements, that is an existing priority carryover. Convene a city council study session and explore software options and costs for online submittal and tracking of planning and building applications, which received also 3 council votes. Next goal, local business support revolving loan program. So this would be a new goal, which would provide training, advising, and loan opportunities for entrepreneurs to launch or expand Lemon Grove businesses. That received 3 votes. And then redesign of Broadway. So this is a new goal that would be to secure grant funding to redesign Broadway in the downtown to improve walkability, introduce traffic calming, and create public gathering spaces, which received 3 council votes and also received votes from the community as well. Next slide. So those are the summary of the 8 goals recommended by staff based on our current staffing and resources available. And so I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And we would ask council to now discuss the goals and provide direction to staff on which ones you would like to officially designate as our strategic goals for the coming fiscal year.
We'll now ask our clerk, do we have any public comment on this item? We have one speaker, we have Manola Clark Mintz.
Thank you. I appreciate having the time to speak, and I appreciate the new process or the expansion of the processes that we've had. It makes always having more opportunity for the community to speak is better. It takes more time. It means plannings have to go out a little further than normal, and I appreciate that that is being done. I missed two important meetings in this whole process. And I wonder about the ability of busier people than me, I am retired, to be able to attend. And I don't know what can be done about that, but I think it needs to be considered next time you're making plans for this whole process. I'm gonna repeat myself, but there needs to be more accessibility. Things like translation services, things like the setup that you're going to have shortly, which I'm very excited about. But again, we need to be thinking about accessibility for everybody as opposed to just the people who are most able. I had some difficulty making comments at the last meeting, and I had difficulty because there was a fundamental difference from what I thought was going to happen. So at the Measure T meeting, there was a decision to have funding, ongoing funding, come out of Measure T money. And that doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't seem like that's what Measure T was for, to have an ongoing funding, because Measure T money isn't necessarily the same every year. We can't guarantee it. So to have the funding for cops, that's the right term, coming out of Measure T, when it was told to us that it was not going to come out of Measure T, and that we would have to find the funding within our general fund, is disturbing. So if we have $800,000 coming out and being used for one thing, how can we plan on or even prioritize things if the money is where it's in different places? So I'm still in the same spot of how I can support or how I can agree with what is going on when the funding isn't coming out of the right places. So, thank you.
All right, that concludes our public comment portion of the meeting, and I'll now turn to our council members. I'll start with Councilmember Altamirano.
Thank you, Tony, for a wonderful job done with the priorities from both the community and from council. I did have a question regarding the existing priorities that would be falling off if we stick to the 8 recommendations. In other words, what's the whole point of coming up with a list if half don't get done and they don't automatically get carried over for the next year? Then we're all just a waste of time. I really would like to see most, if not all, of the existing priorities that were not completed carried over.
And I can address that. So there are a couple that are not carryovers, and so we did have some that we accomplished and some that we're continuing to work on. But I'll give you an example. So for community events, that was not a specific recommendation of staff. However, we are currently in the process of planning the 250th anniversary celebration, and we will be working on Lemon Grove's 50th birthday celebration next year. And so that goal will continue to be worked on, even though it's not an official staff recommendation. Parks expansion and equipment. So we are going to continue to, and I think I shared this in the CIP workshop when this question came up, but we're going to continue from a staff level to look for appropriate grant opportunities for us to make improvements to the city parks. So that's not going to stop, even though that grant or that goal is not specific.